Okay, so here we have one of those ex-Transamerica CCMs. Came to me as a non-runner, bit of a battered state. Touching 19,000 miles and 526 hours. So fair old time, fair old distance. The engine looks okay from the outside, but it leaks oil, blows oil into the airbox, and smells like it burns oil as well. So the project is to take the engine out and replace it with something else, and the challenge is to see just how little disassembly is required to take the engine out, in particular without removing the fuel tank, the rear shock, whatever that the manual says you have to do. Yes, it is a runner, but it drips oil out of the head somewhere onto the starter motor and puts a bit out from underneath onto the garage floor. But it does run. I put the power plug in, took the second butterfly out, and it runs fine. But as I say, it gets a lot of oil, and I wouldn't trust it on a journey of any length without doing something to it first. Well, that's the easy part. Tanks and vanity cowl off. So the question is, what's going to need to be done? Obviously the engine comes down out of the frame, and it's got to come forward a bit to clear the bottom of the frame. Now I'm guessing, hoping the easiest way is simply to take out the engine, radiator and the exhaust all at the same time. Anthony Cotti says take out this little frame member here to be able to get the exhaust off, but I think I'm going to see if I can leave it in place and just detach the exhaust here, and if the engine goes down forward just pull it out with the front pipe. So having loosened it off there, as I say, hopefully it'll just come off together with the radiator as well. Before doing all of that, of course, I'm going to have to loosen the rear wheel and take the chain off the front sprocket. Bottom of air filter out. Looks a bit oily to me, but I haven't seen one before. Any views appreciated? The wheel push forward, a little chain retaining thing taken off, and chain just moved over to the mini swing arm stub. Not actually much to be disconnected on the engine itself by the look of it. Just the brake probably, starter motor I guess, and the engine earth, and then we'll see how we go from there. So loosening off the exhaust clamp here, in the hope of not having to remove the frame member. It's just about enough clearance. Okay, so we'll see how we get on with that. Coil wiring pulled out and coil taken out. Clutch cable, oxygen sensor, radiator, tab, rear brake lever, a rectifier, and remote adjuster. Both mount off these two screws. Not how necessary it is to take them off, but there'll be more room. Already seeing a fair bit of oil around the head. One oil leak source. In fact, it looked easier to take the radiator off, so pop out these 4 clips, disconnect the hose, and it comes off quite easily. Dump your fluid in a bucket, and it's just held out of the way on a bungee. Okay, here's the exhaust, 2 nuts off the studs. I'll wriggle that off, and hope it'll come apart at the join here. Okay, there we go. It was a bit stuck there, so loosening this off was sufficient. The hidden connector is in fact a slightly flexible rubbery mount, as is the one at the back. Anyway, looks alright. Old clean valves. As you see, loads of oil, sludgy stuff. Can't see right now where it's coming from, but up here somewhere. On to starter motor. Makes me think probably I should have disconnected the battery by now. A few more wires disconnected. Follow these up, find where they plug in, pull them out. Now the real issue now is, because I want to drop the engine out and leave the throttle body in place, if at all possible. Got to find what's connecting the engine to the throttle body. Peering around, obviously there's all the potentiometers and stuff in here. Can't see very much, and it looks like there's like a Jubilee clip O-ring thing, and you might just be able, you can't see it here, Might just be able to get a long spanner in here, long screwdriver in here. Okay, so hiding behind the fuel line is 2 clamps for the throttle body. The brake pedal needs bolt taking out and loosening so you can get to the nut on the end of the engine mount here. 8mm Allen key for the engine mount here. Put in through the hole, or you might be able to just fit one in there. The rear engine mount looks alright, but I guess over time that's going to corrode and seize, so a good bit of greasing before it goes back in. Then upper engine mounts, one out. Another one here. Right, all the mounts removed and the engine's just been dropped down and forwards. See if there's anything still in the way. Neutral light here, bullet connector. Looking in here, there's an earth mount at the back of the engine, which is probably the other thing you'd need to take the fuel tank off to undo. But if you just drop the engine out and down a bit, it should be possible to undo it from there. Now about all that's holding the engine in there is the throttle body. So a big screwdriver, lever off the throttle body, and the engine will just drop down and out. The manual says stand. I've just got my trusty loudspeakers, a bit of rubber on top, so the engine looks fairly free there, apart from this earth on the back. It'll still need disconnecting. That's the engine out. So there you have it, more or less a one-man job, even for a little guy like me. See, a bit dirty. Up in the frame, covered in caked old mud and dust, so all need a good clean. Bit dirty down at the back, not too bad, all quite superficial. So although that wasn't too hard, whether putting a new one back in or not will be another matter entirely. But here's the plan. See if I can stick this in.